Hi guys, it's Abby from Two Girls One Cut. Brittany's out there. Tracy's
Hello.
somewhere.
Hello.
Just wanted to let you all know before we get started, where you can find us at. It's going to be our Facebook page, which is Nighthawk Radio. You can find us on our website at nighthawk radio.com. The Live 365 app, you just search up Nighthawk Radio, and also YouTube and Spotify and YouTube Music now. So any or all of those, you can always find a show playing. You can catch us always on Thursdays at 7. You can catch the Mackenzie Hour directly after us, Thursdays at 8. And then Seth's daily podcast, and that's going to be Sundays at 5. So tonight we're going to talk about Richard Ramirez.
The Night
I could,
Stalker.
yes, the Night Stalker. If I could roll my R's, I would have done it, but I
That would have been
cannot.
awesome. That would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
I couldn't do it. So he is definitely one of my favorites. Just because one, he did everything in short order. Like he literally peaked at 14 months. So everything he ever did happened in a 14-month span. Um, it was violent. It was crazy times, I feel like, in 84 and 85, whenever he was committing his murders
In the
and his
murder
other
capital.
crimes
In the
in the
serial
murder
murder
capital.
capital. Yeah, in California.
Yes, yes, in a strangely hot season. Um, he was convicted of 13, I believe, 13 murders, 5 attempted, 11 sexual assaults, um, 12, I think, burglaries, and I want to say 5 rapes. I don't really know what the difference is in the sexual assaults versus rapes. They all sound horrible. But he crammed all of that in 14 months, and he was busy. He was a busy guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So he definitely came from a really crappy home life, like most everybody else. He did have a couple things that I feel like probably molded him into the monster that he was that were pretty remarkable. Um, so he his parents had 5 children, and he was, I believe, the youngest of all of those kids. Um, his dad actually had a great job. They lived in Texas, had a great job. I believe he worked for the railroad. He was a horrible alcoholic, super violent towards all of them, very strict Catholic family. But like I
And I
said,
think
dad was,
I think his dad was also like gone away a lot for
yeah,
work
I think
to
he
work on
worked a
the
lot.
railroad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and his uncle kind of took that place of a father figure, right?
So it was, I believe he was a cousin. I thought he was an uncle also, but he was a
I
cousin who
yes,
was a
I
little
saw
bit,
some sources that said it was an uncle, but then more recently I've found other sources saying that it was just an older cousin. So I wonder if
mhm,
it was like even maybe dad's first cousin,
Well, I
which made
mean,
him his second cousin,
right. But
which
either
kind of made
way,
people think that it was like an uncle,
an
and it
uncle.
kind of was like an uncle
right.
figure.
But
Hmm.
either way, it was somebody filled that void that was not the best of
Mhm.
role models.
Yeah.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
also, I was reading something that said, in Ramirez, in his words, he was saying like it was terrible when his dad was home, but it was also terrible when his dad wasn't home because his mom, you know, I think things just kind of fell apart. It was too much for mom to carry and to handle on her own. But whenever he'd come home, he was very physically abusive. So
N-
they kind of It was like a lose-lose situation.
Did
It was bad
mom,
when he wasn't home, but it was even worse when he was home.
and I may be thinking of a totally different serial killer, but did mom have schizophrenia?
Yes.
I thought so.
She had,
Okay.
I believe she was bipolar schizophrenic. Um, he was also termed bipolar schizophrenic, and he was very young. I think he was 10 or 11 whenever he was diagnosed. He started using drugs, cocaine mainly, which I think is kind of a indicator that he lacked a lot of frontal lobe,
Yeah.
stuff. Like if you're a 10-year-old, and you're willing to experiment with cocaine, I feel like you skipped a couple steps, like you missed the gateways and went straight to
To the
the
hard stuff.
gold
Yeah.
standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
So,
also when he was, what was it, like maybe a year and a half, um, a babysitter wasn't babysitting very well, and he was trying to climb, and the dresser had fallen on top of him, and he had to have like a significant amount of stitches on his head.
mhm,
Um,
yeah.
So not only was it
and so he had some
schizophrenic,
brain damage.
now we got brain trauma. Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
also years later, I think he was maybe like 5 or 6. Um, he had an incident on the playground. I don't, the way I'm imagining is like somebody swinging and he walks in front of them and he gets kicked or something other. They said it was an incident on the swing set. That's kind of what I'm imagining. But somehow or another, he gets hit real hard in the head and he gets knocked unconscious. Um, and I've seen some that said that he even like almost died because of that. But it definitely caused some
You definitely had some
damage to the
trauma.
temporal lobe.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
what you're saying is if they would have put him in a helmet at a young age, this might not have happened.
That's possible, possibly, maybe. I mean, I feel like it's kind of a recipe for
Oh, it's
disaster.
definitely a perfect storm
Yeah.
between the turbulent home life, the
Hmm.
alcoholic parents, and when they were present, they weren't really present. And
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
being raised by someone who is just a few years older than you that had a military background that was I mean, when you read about their relationship, it seemed like that they kind of bonded over certain things that people would find very morbid and taboo. He served in Vietnam, the uncle cousin did, and came when he came home from his service, he had stacks on stacks of Polaroid pictures that were depicting some really disgusting things, people that had been beheaded, people that were in the midst of being assaulted in all sorts of fashions, just dead bodies, all of these wartime scenes that nobody should have to see. And here he would bring these out like a party trick
And he
and
was like,
sit and look
Richard
at
was
him
like
and talk about
12.
him.
He's like 12
Right,
years old.
So
right.
if you look at certain serial killers that played with dead animal,
Hmm.
I guess this was his dead animal.
But
Yeah, he
also
definitely enjoyed
it
it.
was somebody that he was looking up to, showing him all of these
Showing
things
him.
and
And
teaching him that
Yes,
I
all
know
of
you
these things are
guys
I
cool.
did this. Yep.
Yeah.
probably think it's weird, but when I was about that age, my grandpa had the same thing. He had, he was in the Second World War, and he had pictures of, blown up people, and we
That's
would look at them,
crazy.
you
That's so
know.
crazy to me.
Um, to me, it
I
was just fascinating. Not the gruesomeness of it, but just the
just hearing the
horrors of
stories.
war. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
you know,
And their experiences and their point of view.
and he would
I think would be
explain,
very
look,
interesting.
this is not like TV. This is what a gun will really do to you. It's not like
Hmm.
what you see
Right.
on TV type thing. But I mean, I get the fascination of looking at the pictures because I was probably about 10, And yeah, it was. Oh yeah, the way they'd get them pictures out,
Oh,
it was just amazing to me.
it was, I feel like Brittany said, you know, with this individual being kind of in that father figure, authoritative role, of course, you know, you want to always be in agreement with them. You want their praise,
Right,
their
the approval. Yeah,
acceptance, their approval. And, you know, if maybe that wasn't his thing, maybe he, you know, kind of made it his thing because he was lacking the bond that he should have and probably could have had, you know, with a father that he didn't have.
Well,
yeah,
and then
And
also with the temporal lobe damage that he had, it caused epilepsy. And
mhm,
so, he would have seizures often, and the doctors pretty much said, like, these should subside on their own. He doesn't really need to be medicated. It'll go away with age. He'll grow out of it.
mhm,
I don't know who in the world would want their child to suffer through
mhm,
seizures,
right.
um, day after day after day. But then also, I read that he had experiences while he's unconscious during these seizures where it would be like something's coming after him, like just something super scary, super traumatizing to a child.
mm,
Um,
Right.
he would it was almost like visions. Um,
Right. Or schizophrenic hallucinations,
that's right.
auditory
That's true.
hallucinations. I
That's
mean,
true.
and you know what?
that could
During the
definitely be.
epilepsy.
Those
Um,
Mhm,
could have manifested a lot more than normal before a seizure.
hmm
mhm,
The
Yeah, yeah.
hallucinations and things like that. Yeah,
But it's like, why would you not medicate? Why would you not? I mean, I guess he didn't have the best parents to advocate for him to say he needs to be medicated, whether you think he
mhm.
does or not. Like, this is really affecting him mentally. Um, but so
Well, my guess
the
is they were
cousin,
so unplugged, you
right,
know, that
right.
they probably didn't
They
even
just
think
took the
about,
doctor's advice and went with it. They're like, yeah,
yeah.
okay.
yeah.
Which a lot of
Um,
people do. You know.
And well, and then the cousin got him into smoking marijuana, and the marijuana made the epilepsy subside.
Mhm,
Um, and so I think that's kind of where drugs come into play. And then, you only get a high for so long off of so much marijuana, and then you
You
have
got
to
to go a
go
little
up
more.
and go up,
Yeah.
and you go to the harder stuff. But I think in a way, he also was thinking, okay, this cousin is also helping me in that way.
mhm.
Or it could have been just like, hey, I got the coolest cousin in the world. You know,
Right.
Right,
Like
because
he's
we're
right.
fixed
talking.
my epilepsy. He's
Eh,
shared all of
He's
these
got a J in
Polaroids.
his pocket.
but
Yep.
Yeah.
we're talking about probably the mid late '70s at this point,
Oh,
and it
everywhere.
was that was true sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Mhm.
Stuff going on.
100%.
So I mean, it just may have been, hey, I got the coolest cousin in the world. He'd get you anything you want.
Right.
Right. Well, the coolest cousin in the whole wide world was in a relationship with a female. And whenever Richard was, I believe, 15, he chose to blow her face off i- in short order, right in the living room in front of Richard Ramirez. And he had to testify against his role model slash cousin uncle um, in the court of law whenever he was, you know, up against a first degree murder charge. So, you know, it went from this is the cool uncle cousin that's going to hook me up and get me high and make me feel better to now you're being asked to betray basically your mentor, your person, and stand up here and say all these things that you witnessed him doing. And that would have to be a huge mind game, you know, for
Mhm.
him. And then you've already got a sick mind, sick brain. And so he pretty much didn't have a chance from Jump Street. I mean, here he is, you know, with no body. to advocate for him, and he's had literally all the things go wrong that could go wrong. So he, after he testified and got through the court proceedings, that gentleman was placed in the Department of Corrections. I'm pretty sure that he did receive a life sentence for the crime that he committed.
Did he? Because I read that he got he they found him not guilty for reasons of insanity,
Okay.
and they sent him to a psychiatric
Okay.
ward.
I mean, I
And then
thought that
I don't
thought
know.
that
He
was
may
gonna-
have served life there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
but
thought that that's what it's read, but I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
On that one, I just know that wherever he went there, I believe, for the remainder of his life.
Yeah.
You know, I guess if you have someone that, you know, put their time in and served their time for their country, and they committed a crime that was
I
like
think
that,
that definitely helped
maybe
in his
it-
case.
maybe
Yeah.
that's why he, you know, served his time out in a psych ward versus
Yeah.
a penitentiary.
So, how did Ramirez make it from that to California?
So after that trial was done and over with, he packed it up and split out by himself. Ended up leaving the little town there in Texas, traveled to, I believe, the Los Angeles area. Didn't have anything but what he took with him. You know, I don't know. I don't even think he had a car. I think he pretty much just
Didn't he like hop a
hitchhiked
bus?
and bombed and yeah,
Or
and
there was a lot of
buses.
hitchhiking then.
Yep, and just made it as far away from that reality that he could.
And he was in like 9th grade and just left it
took
all.
off.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, can you blame him?
It's
You
pretty
know?
gutsy though at that age, though.
Well, but
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, and I get that. But also, I think his sister lived in California,
Mhm.
right? So that's like
Mhm.
what he was shooting for. Like, I'm going to go to
Yeah.
California, find my sister.
Start new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he did.
I see,
Just
you know,
in the
I
wrong
feel like as
direction.
an older sister,
Yeah.
I would have been like, your ass is going to school. You're not
Mhm.
dropping out. You can transfer here. We'll get you into high school.
Right.
But also, they were, his parents were immigrants, right? Or his
Mhm.
mom, one or the
I
other.
believe both
Mom
of
or
them. I
dad,
believe both
both.
of them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, maybe, things were a lot different then too, I guess. You know, it wasn't quite as abnormal. It wasn't quite as abnormal for people to drop out.
Just take off.
Yeah.
Right.
And again,
mid-year.
you know, the late 70s, early 80s, and it sounds like this family wasn't too terribly close. I mean,
Right.
and it sounds like to me that it wouldn't surprise me that he knocked on her door, come on in, you know, get you a shower, get you something to eat, but you got to go.
You ain't staying
Right.
here. You ain't
Yeah.
sleeping on our couch.
Right. I
Breaking
didn't
our
tell you
couch
to,
down.
yeah, I didn't tell you to come out here, but good to see you. But there's the door.
All right.
Well, it
So-
wasn't very long after he moved to the West Coast that he started with his criminal behavior. And that was one other thing, you know, he dabbled in a lot of stuff.
Well, and the sister's husband, he was a peeping Tom. And so Richard would go around with the brother-in-law, and they just at night stalker. They would night stalk people, and just
Kind of escalated though.
sometimes it was for sexual reasons. Sometimes it was just, hey, I'm bored.
they were
Let's
nosy.
go see what the neighbors
Right.
are doing. Let's
Right.
check in on the neighbors. Yeah. So I think that's kind of where
Very strange
that kind of
relationship.
started.
You know
that
what
he's
though?
had.
If you think about it, that's kind of like dipping your toe into the water.
Mm,
before you jump in.
Hmm.
So he kind of perfected that craft without getting
right.
caught. Because wasn't his
Yeah.
biggest thing at getting into the houses was he was sneaking into the windows.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, peeping toms are around the windows. And I could just kind of put myself in that place and him looking into this window thinking, this window is open. How
Hmm.
hard would it be to crawl in there and do my
Right.
deed?
And he would go
Right.
around the houses to see, like, walk around the house and see, well, this window's locked. What about this one? This one's open. This is the window.
It,
And sometimes people would even leave their doors unlocked because that's just kind of how it was then,
And
and
right.
he would walk right in their door.
it was
Right.
like that back then. People
Hmm.
weren't afraid,
Right.
you know, like they are today. I mean, my niece, good Lord, it could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon and her door's locked. And I'm thinking, I would be, it'd be terrible to live that way, to be that scared to lock your doors 24 hours a day. And we don't live in a bad area. Not
Right.
like that. I mean, you got
Right.
your normal stuff, but um, it to me that just kind of opens up, not no pun intended, the window of opportunity
Hmm.
Hmm.
for him to, kind of escalate from just a peeping tom to, rape and killing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, and not only that, he was a burglar, and um he was just constantly busy. Like I said,
He
he had a
became
lot of stuff going on in that 14 little small month. Can you imagine if he was like a full grown serial killer, what he
right.
could have
And you,
done?
Well,
you
and he
said
became addicted to cocaine, and so he started breaking into these homes
out of
specifically
necessity.
to burglarize them.
Feeding him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, but if he killed 13 in 14 months,
Right. It's
you
one a
know, if
month.
you would, yeah, span that out, that's one a month.
There
And
Yeah.
were there was one night that he killed or attempted to kill
was
Like
that the
three.
soror
multiple.
or the
Hmm.
college kids?
And yeah,
Yeah.
the he killed the roommate but let the other roommate go. Abby might be planning on talking about the victims, I'm not sure, but yeah, he wasn't satisfied because he let the one go because he was nervous that people were hearing what was going on, and he left the scene and he's like, well, that wasn't satisfying. I didn't get the job done.
I got it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I got
So
to
then
do it
he went
again.
after more.
Honestly, I was going to get into some of them individually like that. I didn't, but I'm going to make that a point to try to do that because I feel like that whenever you talk about these things, it's important that they get noticed, that they
Sure.
get credited, for
Recognition, yeah, the
their
poor
sad role
victims.
in some of it because I wouldn't want to be remembered by that. That being the last thing that ever
But
happened
you
to me in
don't,
my life.
yeah, but you don't want them to be forgotten over
Yes.
Right. And
this.
whenever you speak their name and tell their story, it's powerful. And I feel like that people, they do deserve that, individually. Um, there was one, and I'm not for sure in the order in which it happened, but he actually stomped this woman to death.
And it was an older
And
lady too.
70, yeah, like
Yeah.
79-year-old woman. And I thought about that on my way home tonight, and I thought, how much power would it take for you as a human to stomp your foot on someone's body, their head especially, enough to cause them to lose their life? And the shoe print that you left with your Converse was so distinct, or boot, or whatever you had on, that they were able to identify you via your shoe print with your boot that you had instilled in someone's forehead or neck or face. And like, how confusing would that be if the poor woman woke up, even if for an instant, and hears a stranger literally standing over top of her, stomping her brains out. I
Yeah.
mean, that would be the most terrifying last thought in your whole entire life. Not to mention, I feel like it's not
Yeah.
instant. It's
And
not quick and
Right.
painless.
at
Right.
at some point, they would know I'm dying. I'm
Right?
not making. This is
Yeah.
it. This is my last day on earth.
Yes. It
And
had to.
actually, his first victim, I don't think he was even charged for. Um, but it was in 1984. I mean, I think it spanned from like what, April 1984 to like
August of
August
85.
of 85. So this 9-year-old little girl in San Francisco, she was helping her brother look for a $1 bill that he had lost or something. I think the brother was maybe like 6 or 7. Ramirez lured her into the basement of this apartment building, and he ended up stabbing her. And he had a specific way that he would stab, because this is what the uncle cousin taught him. You stab him in the
Right.
side of the neck where it's going to hit that carotid artery,
Mm-hmm.
and slide it across so that it also cuts the trachea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the jugular. And he also raped this little girl, and the killing was never linked to him until 2009 with DNA.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
do remember.
that was
Yeah,
his
I do
first
remember
victim.
reading that one. I don't
Yeah,
remember it being the first one, but I just
This guy was
heinous,
evil.
just
I mean,
disgusting.
so sad.
if you just even seen pictures of him, he just looks evil.
Yes, I watched some interviews, and he's so creepy.
There's
Very hollow.
there's nothing
Yeah,
Nothing
there.
behind there,
No.
nothing inside, just dead
no,
inside.
I mean,
yeah.
like
And
he could
but
And his
just
eyes, even his eyes, like the
black.
irises of his eyes are black.
Yeah, just
yeah,
black, and it gives me a feel that he could kill or attempt to kill anybody at any time. Just
unpredictable.
just snap and just start
Yep,
stomping you.
yep,
Hmm.
Now, didn't
yeah,
he have? Wasn't there several elderly victims? There wasn't just the one. I mean, he kind of.
right.
I don't know if he got off on older women or if he was just
Well, I don't think that
opportunistic.
there were. I think it was opportunity more
Yeah,
than anything.
Yeah, yeah, I do
more
And
too.
than
But
whenever,
he didn't put an age cap on it though,
mm-mm,
because if he was in there and he was doing his jam, and he took a notion, if you were 80 and he wanted to, he was going to sexually assault you. So
mhm.
it wasn't that he had any ageism,
that's a good
anything
word.
like that. Yeah, ageism.
Ageism.
He was not a bit bothered by age. If he wanted it, he was going to take it,
And
and
I was
he
wondering
did.
if just because especially you get up in your late 70s, early 80s, you're more vulnerable. You can't
Hmm.
really fight back a lot. Um, you can be controlled very easily, physically.
Hmm.
I don't know if that played a
Yeah.
role in it, but I do remember that he did have several, or a lot of his victims were older.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I think some of them were. Um, Mostly though, he claimed that the devil would take over him.
I
The
believe
devil
that.
would tell him, Satan
I
would
mean,
tell
he
him
wouldn't say that.
when it was time to go, he said he would get this feeling that this was the house. This is the person that I need to go kill right now.
Mhm.
Um,
I believe that.
yeah.
Whether it's through schizophrenia or if it was
Or
an
just
actual
pure
demon.
narcissism. Who thinks that they are in a position to be led by, Satan or Jesus or whatever entities you choose, that you're the chosen one and you're supposed to carry out these deeds for this individual? Like, I think that's pretty grandiose of him if he believed that he was, a chosen
Well,
person.
I
And that
mean,
was one of his signatures is he would draw the pentagrams, draw the little
yeah,
nuances on
on
their
his,
heads or their faces
yeah.
on the walls.
And he even had a
Um,
pentagram on his hand.
he did.
During
He kept
trial.
it.
And during the
Yeah,
trial, he would
kept it.
show it constantly.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, he did.
But I mean, if you
And
think about it, how many times have you heard a mom drowned a whole bathtub full of kids, and they
mhm,
said, Jesus told me to do it.
right,
You know,
right.
it's
That's mental illness. I
It's
think
oh
definitely
yeah,
mental illness.
but I
And it
mean that's
happens a lot in
yeah.
yeah,
postpartum
So,
because the chemistry of your brain, your hormones, you go through so
so
many
many.
changes. Um, so
that's on
yeah,
you all. I don't
postpartum
know nothing about
depression.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
does.
real
It
thing.
changes everything. And some women are too afraid to ask for help, and apparently some men are also afraid to ask for help, or
Hmm.
even they don't think they need help because that's normal to. I mean, that's how he saw life. That's how he saw his. I mean,
Hmm.
that was his reality.
Yeah,
He was
and
schizophrenic. He had the TBIs, and for as long as he could remember.
but
So that
especially
was
the
normal
way
to
he
him.
was.
That was him.
It sounds like the way he was brought up, though. If you don't ask for help because men are
Yeah,
always okay,
that's right.
and
And
it's
even
it's
I was raised to believe that we don't need to ask for help. I was also raised by men. Um, but yeah, I mean,
that
I
shows
was raised the same way.
weakness. That
Hmm.
shows that we're weak.
Yep. It's all in your head. It's all in the way that you're thinking.
Yep.
I think is what that generation kind of thought. You just need to change the way that you think,
Swallow it
Right.
down.
but you can't. You know,
Just
not
swallow
if
it
you have
down.
a mental illness like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I just would thought so much about what he would have accomplished in his career,
Had
had
it gone
he
on
not,
longer.
yep,
Yeah.
had he not gotten caught, because I feel like that his numbers would have soared
Yeah,
because
for
he
sure.
didn't have pulling off periods. He didn't have time where he
Mm-mm.
would plan and premeditate things. Like he literally just winged his life, went by the seat of his pants, did what he
Yeah.
wanted to do. And whenever he got caught, um, I did enjoy reading that in the way that it happened, just because his
Me
own,
too. It's like a movie.
yep, his own community, his own race, if you will, his own people, kind of kept him out of the shadows, kept him under the light so that everyone could see him. And basically, it took, the whole village of people that day, but luckily there was a lot of people out and about. It was a hot, sunny day. And he was recognized by a police officer. That individual, tried to apprehend him. He did some juking and moving and got away, and, was trying to carjack and do all kinds of stuff to get away. And they ended up pretty much vigilante style, like stopping him, just beating his ass off
I do
until,
remember something about that. And like I
yeah,
told you guys earlier, out of all of this, the famous serial killers, Ramirez is one that I know very little about, but I do remember something about they cornered him for the
yeah,
police. Yeah.
and just held him and beat his hind end off.
Yeah.
And then,
He was on a bus on his way back to California from El Paso, I think. He went to El Paso
okay,
to visit his sister because
okay,
I don't know if he felt like they were kind of closing in on him or what. He just kind
right,
of got a little bit paranoid. So he went to go visit his sister. His sister wasn't home. He waited around for her. She never showed up. So he's like, "Well, I'm going to ride the bus back then because
hmm,
I feel a little uncomfortable here." So he rides
right,
back and he arrives at the bus station and he hears these ladies whispering, and there's a lady that says El Matador, which means the killer.
Killer.
And so he snaps his head, and he's looking around, and he looks to his left, and he sees it's like a newspaper article or something with his picture on it.
Yeah,
God, that
They're
is like a
looking
movie.
for him.
it
They're
is.
looking for him. And
Yeah.
then from there, these ladies are, at this point, they're screaming, the killer, the
Mhm.
killer. And then, he runs down the block, and he tries to steal this car from this lady. And her husband comes out with this big metal pipe and whacks him in the head. And he's able to
More brain
scramble
trauma.
away. And then he sees this other guy that's working on a Camaro, and he hops in the vehicle. He didn't realize that the vehicle was on cement
Blocks.
blocks.
Okay.
So then he climbs
So
through to the
now
other
he's turned
side.
into the Keystone Killer.
It literally, the way that I read it, like I'm imagining in my head, like he's going through the alley into this person's yard, and
So he
there's
looked like
this
the coyote
guy.
from the Roadrunner cartoons.
Yeah, like there's this guy working on his car, and here comes the killer hopping
Can
into
you
his car,
imagine
trying to take
starting that
off.
thing up and putting it in gear and just hitting it to the floor, not
And
going
just going,
anywhere?
Plump. And then eventually the guy with the metal pipe catches up to
yeah,
him and
Remember
starts
me?
beating him more.
yeah.
And at this point, the police are closing in, and he begs the police for their help.
Mhm.
Come help me.
Mhm.
He's going to kill me. Come help me.
Right.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, don't mind those 13 people that you beat
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And you know
tortured
what? You
and
said something earlier
assaulted.
that I've been thinking about ever since you said it. If he wouldn't have got caught when he did,
Mm-hmm.
just say he got by with this for 3 years. I mean, he
Right.
could have, had 30, 40, 50.
Oh,
I think he just
yeah.
kind of got like a little bit sloppy because he didn't plan anything out,
Mm.
Um,
Well,
and
this window's open. You're next.
I read that he would wear gloves, but there was one window or something that he couldn't get um, the screen off. So he had to take one of the gloves off to then pry the screen
Fingerprint.
out, and he left a fingerprint. And
He wasn't the
then
smartest.
the shoes. DNA wasn't a thing back then,
No,
but I
no.
think they just kind of put it all together. And then also he had some run-ins with the law, but I think it was probably the fingerprint really that was like, all right, that's definitely our guy.
And that was the
Mhm.
DNA of the time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
If your fingerprint was on somebody's window that was murdered, the first question they're going to ask is, "How did your
Wow.
fingerprint get there?"
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
usually what they do is say, "Well, do you know this person?" And 90% of the time they're going to say no. And then the next question is, "Well, how did your fingerprint get on the window?"
Mhm. Yeah,
It's hard
So,
to explain something like that away.
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Another part that's really strange and hard to explain away is the reception that he got during his trial, which I found to be very odd. He was almost like a superstar, like a
Hmm.
rock star. I
Mhm.
feel like he had a look about him that women found really super attractive. And he
He did. He
would
looked like this
dress.
like hippie rock star,
But didn't
long,
he?
luscious dark hair. He wore his like
Mhm.
little aviator glasses.
But didn't
Oh,
during the
it's,
trial he had like really super bad teeth?
oh,
Didn't they fix
yeah.
his teeth?
I don't know.
It
You mean
seems like
like
to me,
once he was in prison?
yeah, that didn't the state
Now,
pay
once
to
he
have his
went to
teeth fixed?
prison, I noticed that he had some teeth pulled. He probably had some fillings,
You're
things
telling me
things like
that
that.
a convicted
Yeah,
murderer
yeah,
has the right to go get their teeth
I
fixed
know.
in prison after killing 13 people in 14 months?
You're
That,
right.
mm, uh,
Priorities, people.
I got no words.
Right.
I mean, how
It
does
is a
that
little
work?
crazy.
But to go back to what you were saying, I mean, he was a celebrity of the times,
Oh,
and women
absolutely.
were, I mean, basically throwing their underwear at him. And try,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
They
know, they
were completely clogging up the courthouse. Um, he actually got married twice in prison. Um, he carried on, two very long-term relationships. Both of them he married. One pretty much said, look, if my husband's on death row, whenever his sentence is terminated and they take his life, like I will kill myself also that day. Like I will no longer live this life without him. And they didn't know him from a can of paint, didn't know him, from any way other than what they saw on the news. And their little visit times that they got while they were, married and in prison together, essentially.
and the
And
media ate him up.
oh,
He was,
yes.
you know, he was constantly in his three-piece suit.
Hmm.
He was always dressed to the hilt.
Yep.
And I
And
wonder how, because he was not wealthy whatsoever.
well,
Right.
my
He
guess is it
lived
came
off
from
of,
one of those women.
and that's true. That's true. I
You
didn't
That
think
know,
or
about
his
that. Because
mom.
I was going to say he lived off of
the land.
burglarizing
Yeah,
homes.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how he got by. That's how
I
he
would
paid his rent.
say that
Right.
these women were giving him money. I would assume, and paying for all this stuff. But
Yeah.
he even when the camera was on him, I do remember that
Oh, he
when
was
his
coy.
trial was going on, he always just had this constant smirk,
Yep. Yeah.
like you're not going to find anything on me. And
Right.
that dude really wasn't that smart. I mean, come on,
Right.
he was no BTK. You know what I
Right.
mean? And he was constantly showing the pentagram, and he's up on his hand, and he really did not help
Just a
his cause
show, really.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was showboating. I think he liked the attention.
Oh
I think
yeah.
doing that, he liked the attention from the females and what that got him. There's just so many different things with it that I think he really enjoyed that he got, all the attention that he never got.
His 15 minutes of fame is what he got.
He sure did.
Yeah.
And instead of, the state of California at San Quentin being able to carry out the end of his term, uh, B-cell lymphoma, or pretty much probably a common cold, took him out of this world. So I
It
find
blows
that
my
a bit
mind.
ironic.
It blows my mind, though, that he was on death row for 23 years. How
That's not
does someone,
uncommon though.
but how?
Well,
Like,
you
I
can
know that they're not so backed up because they have that many people that need to die,
right, but
Right.
you know?
the way that works a
Right.
lot of times is you're
I know you have to
allowed
do so much
It's
investigating.
appeals.
You get so many, what do they call them?
appeals.
Appeals where
Appeal,
you,
Well,
appeals, but
yeah,
also like
well,
a
you can
3 day, they extend it for
extension.
3 days because of such and such and this
Right.
but
and that. But like
you're
23 years,
you're allowed 3 appeals. Okay.
that's crazy to me.
Now, an appeal can take 5, 6, 7 years. Now, you do that 3 times. Okay. After your last appeal, they will set a date for your demise,
Execution,
which
yeah.
may be another 5 years away.
Right.
Now, why that takes so long and why can't they take you down right now and get it over with? I don't know what the process is for that, but I do know your appeals can take several years, and you're allowed up to 3 appeals.
Yeah.
Right.
But I
I
mean,
don't
it's not
know. Like I
uncommon. You
said,
hear all the time
23
these guys
years.
have
I
been on death
know.
row 20 years
Yeah.
or 25
Yeah.
years, and usually natural causes end up taking them out before the state gets the satisfactory of putting them out.
Right.
Right.
I
I
don't
wonder,
know unless you're in Texas, and then it's like, oh,
right.
you're convicted, no appeal, you're gone. you know,
Shoot you in
Another little
the
tidbit of
front lawn.
information that I read was after he passed away, um, he passed away at a hospital. His body was not claimed by any family members or anything.
Or she killed
And
herself.
well, yes, essentially. No, I think he divorced one, then the second one he married. Um, she lived. I've read about her. She lived for several years after, but nobody came to pick him up, so they cremated him, and he pretty much just lived in a jar for a minute, you know, and that was
I hate
the
that.
end of his life. Yeah.
Shame. But I just wonder what their protocol is for someone that has cancer in prison.
Right.
Do they treat them?
Is that
Oh yeah,
life
they
saving?
have to.
But is it life saving? You know,
Measure, right.
that quandary is weird, because
You
it's
know,
like, well, they're scheduled to die, so do we spend the money as
you got to
a
look at it
whole?
this way though.
And
You know, they do life
there's always
saving measures
pardoning.
because
Right.
of there could be a pardon
Right.
for whatever reason. But it's like the same thing is if they give you lethal injection, why do they use clean needles?
Right.
You know, but yeah, they have to. You have the right to, even though you're on death row, you have the right to medical care, life
Hmm.
saving medical care. I mean, they treat you, you know, that as a right. I
But
don't
how
necessarily
fair
agree
is
with
it?
that,
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah,
but
how fair is it that a murderer, a serial killer at that,
yeah,
will get free chemotherapy
oh yeah, yeah,
when there are other people in the world who go into debt and lose their home and everything that they have just to stay alive
yeah.
Just to pay the bill.
when they are a good human being?
Well, I mean,
Like
when
you
you're
said, just to pay the bill.
what is it? When you're in prison, you get 3 meals a day, you get a
Yeah.
roof over your head, and all the sex that you could ever handle. It may
Right.
not be what you
As,
want,
as long as
but
you like,
it's all you can
as long
handle.
as you like it.
But they treat you, and as far as that goes, they do everything they could, you know, just like if you were a free person, just for the
Hmm.
fact that, you know, there have been last minute stays, there have been pardons at the last minute, and you know that's just
Stays. That's the
part
word
of
I
our
was looking
system.
for here.
So I mean,
What was the word?
Stays. Like a 3 day
Days.
stay,
yeah,
Okay.
6 week
Gotcha.
stay. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And you know, they may find some last minute something that they either get a stay or they get, you know,
Technicality. Yeah.
right.
Some reason to pardon them
And
or what
you may
have
get a
you.
new trial at the last minute. So they do treat you as far as anything, you know, just like you would if you were going to the doctor outside of prison.
Right. Right.
No, it's probably not like the standard of care that you would maybe
No,
at some
I don't
places,
imagine it is.
but
It is care though.
But it's
it
something.
is care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too the fact that, he died, I assume, with dignity in a hospital room and not
Hmm.
in a cell
With
or
a needle in his arm.
alone. Right. Yeah, on the table. That was, the best outcome for him, I guess. But
You know, and I'm not a big fan of the gas chamber. I imagine it's pretty horrible. I'm
Is
oh,
definitely
that
not
how he would have died?
California is lethal injection, I believe.
it's all, yeah, I believe it's all the above, but I'm pretty sure that pretty much everybody just uses the sodium pen,
Right.
or
And
whatever.
put you to sleep and then
And
stop your heart. Yeah.
Hmm.
right.
And you know, but to me, if you are on death row and you're convicted or you confessed or whatever, I think your death should hurt. Let's put you back in the chair. You
Okay.
know, we're not going to
I
let you
have,
out of here easy enough to just let you go to sleep and stop your heart. Let's
yeah,
fry the crap out of you right before you go.
I have a complex with that. I do. I have a hard time with it because it's like, yes, you deserve to die, but also I'm not God. So who am I to say that you deserve to
Well,
die?
I'm going to tell you something. I,
And also the people that are injecting, Are they killing these people? Are they going to go to hell because they are murderers now?
Well, now we're getting into
No,
the
I don't
Bible,
know.
land of the law,
I
and land of
know. I
God. So,
know. I
but
just have a hard time with it. I have a hard time with the death
well,
penalty.
I have to have consistency. That's
Yeah.
how I have to live my life, with consistency. If I believe this way, then I need to believe this way because they're consistent.
Yeah.
So I am not, and I don't want to get political, and I don't need to hear any political crap, but I am not for abortion. To me, that's killing. So, with that being said, that meant that I had to have, I didn't believe in capital punishment because you're killing. But
Mhm.
old Seth boy, about 5 years ago, said something to me that changed my whole outlook on that. He said, abortion is wrong, but that baby didn't have a choice. The guy on death row made a choice to kill.
That's true.
And it changed my whole outlook on that. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
you know what? Every now and then, a broken clock is right twice a day. And he got it right. So, and he did my entire outlook on abortion and capital punishment.
Old Seth, can't believe he actually
Listen,
did something this time.
you never know when he's going to squeak one out.
Well,
But yeah, it's I mean, and ever since then, it was like, you know what? That's right. If you are convicted without a doubt, and you're on death row, and it's your time, make it hurt.
Yeah.
Don't
I
just
mean,
put
an
put
eye
them to
for an
sleep.
eye. I get it. I do. I get it.
Make your
Um,
last minutes just as hard and hurtful and painful as possible.
yeah.
And I imagine getting shocked to death is pretty nasty.
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
I mean, your eyeballs
absolutely.
pop out and you pee on yourself.
How do
Right.
you feel about it, Ab?
So,
I could tell you didn't really want to get into it. You're just kind of sitting over there in the corner.
so I feel like that I'm definitely a fan of consistency. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I think that, I know that there's extenuating circumstances that sometimes should be brought into the decision on, do they get life without, do they get the death penalty? My thing was always, thinking about the cost of keeping someone who took a life alive, essentially, housing them. There's so much overcrowding, there's so much, so many people in prison. And that was kind of, I don't know why, but that was always one of those things for me. And it's like, why should we as a nation be indebted in further debt, uh, to house and feed and provide medical care, even if it's not the best, to these individuals that, made the conscious choice to take someone's life? Because I think that's just the ultimate, crime. Um, the abortion thing, like that one is a little different for me. I feel kind of, I'm a pro-choice individual in the
Yeah,
way that
I don't think we
I,
need to get into that one.
yeah,
I
but
don't think that
with,
really goes along with
But
no,
well, I
but
mean, you,
with,
you got to talk about the consistency part of it, though.
yeah, and I do, I feel like that. So,
and I do agree with Seth too,
I
the
do
baby
feel
didn't make
like
a choice, but
I
these
don't,
people
I don't
did.
know that
But also, I don't. It's tough. It is. It's tough. I feel like it
Okay,
kind of.
let me
I feel like
put
it's
this
kind
out there.
of. It's kind of based off of the circumstances.
Okay, let me put this out there. How many
But then
times,
you're not being
especially
consistent. So I don't.
especially now, how many times are we seeing innocent guys being taken out of prison? So how many up to this point were really innocent that got the death penalty?
Right.
So you
I
have that
mean,
factor too. But if you are convicted of 13 murders,
right, you
you're guilty.
probably committed
Oh, for
a
Yeah,
couple.
sure.
you're guilty.
And there were probably possibly even more.
More.
Yeah, that's just
Never
what he
linked to him.
confessed to. Yeah.
hmm
So,
Yeah.
but I mean,
And I don't think that he never really like actually came out and admitted to anything, right?
not that
I
I'm
don't think
aware
he
of.
ever 100% admitted. I mean, I know that they had a lot of evidence against him. There was one woman that he killed the husband. She was tied up in the bed, and he's searching the home for valuables that he can take to make money.
Mhm.
And he walks back into the bedroom. She had somehow gotten herself loose and gotten the rifle that was between the mattress and the box spring, and she pointed it at him, and he heard the click. She tried to shoot him. It was not loaded. She did not know that. So he gets mad. This infuriates him. He cuts out her eyeballs and puts them in her jewelry box and takes the jewelry box home. And they found that in his apartment when he was arrested.
Again, the
So,
first
like,
question
they have
would be,
evidence.
do you know this woman? And when he says no, well, then how did her eyeballs end up in your
Right.
apartment?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But did he ever, like, I don't think he ever come out and admitted it, did he?
I think
Well,
all
and
he would ever say is no comment.
oh yeah.
He would say no comment.
Yeah.
I did watch one interview where somebody asked him, "Are you evil?" And he said, "I think everybody's got a little bit of evil in them." He said,
Mhm.
I think I am evil. Not 100%. Maybe like
Just the
80.
kill him part.
Maybe just like 80%,
Just the kill
60%.
him part.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't think he ever like actually come out and said it, but like the evidence is
Yes
there.
or
Like,
no. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't think he said either way. But
yeah.
I think that he used his trial time, for such, I guess, like a social media platform of the
hmm
80s
Oh yeah, he
to,
had fun with it.
I mean, the women beat the place down to get,
hmm
seats in
Yeah.
there every day during his trial. And
And
Right.
he
he
was
ate it up.
letters hand over fist. So, like I said, it brought two wives to him that he, probably would have never had in the free world
Right.
because he had poor hygiene and acne.
Yeah. He
But
was, yeah,
he definitely
made his
had a
mark
good
on the
time.
world.
Yeah, had a good
Mhm.
So,
time with his jams. Yeah.
well, guys, with that, an hour has went by. Good talk. It was a good one. So,
That's a good
guys,
one.
be sure to check us out, Nighthawk Radio on the website. Go to YouTube, Spotify, YouTube Music. Look up Nighthawk Radio. Look us up on the Facebook page, Nighthawk Radio, one word. Be sure to check the McKenzie Hour out Thursday, 8 o'clock after this show. Seth's Daily Podcast at 5 on Sundays. And Awakening Radio, 7 o'clock on Sundays as well. Ladies,
Yeah, man.
till next week.
Yep.
Seth,
See you then.
take us
Bye.
home, buddy.
Bye, guys.
Here at Nighthawk Radio, we do not forget to push the button.